Here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to In the Spotlight with Jill Nicolini on Business Talk Radio, where we take your business to the next level. Welcome back to Business Talk Radio. Eva Medcroft joins us today. She's a certified health, life, and trauma-informed coach. Welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
Oh, great. Well, I think you're awesome because you live on Anna Maria Island in Florida. Is that true?
That is true. I live in a tropical paradise in Florida.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is beautiful. And we're in New York right now. It's a little bit rainy here. So I can imagine your positive outlook on life by living in such a sunny, beautiful environment. So let's get started. Eva, give us a little bit of your background and history. What you do?
I am a certified life, health, and trauma-informed coach that I specialize in helping women in toxic relationships that are feeling really exhausted and overwhelmed reconnect with their authentic, true selves so they can truly go from surviving to living the richest life possible.
Wow. Well, let's get started and dive a little into Eva herself. Where are you born? Where are you raised? And what was your life like? What got you into this type of field?
So I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. From those that are from the area. And so I was born and raised in Baltimore. I moved to Ocean City, Maryland as soon as I was old enough to move to the beach. When I was 18, got married to a service member, lived overseas for a while, moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then finally moved here where I have, where my sister lives, and I have other family here.
All right, great. And
so,
was this the type of field you were always in, or what brought you into becoming a certified health, life, and trauma-informed coach?
Well, I originally started out as in marketing and advertising. I've owned an ad agency since the early 2000s. So I've been a business owner for years. And my experience with launching new businesses and working with small business owners, that a lot of the things that were truly holding them back from success and from being truly great was personal things, not their business. It had nothing to do with what they knew about their career field and their business acumen. It had everything to do with little things in their life that were causing them to self-sabotage, things that were holding them back and making them feel like maybe they didn't deserve the success. So I found myself automatically coaching the individual business owner just so they could receive the results of my advertising and marketing services. So it just kind of naturally evolved over the years. And then I would say about 3 years ago, for a long time, I personally was in a toxic relationship that I came out 3 years ago. And at the very end of it, I learned firsthand just how debilitating that can be and how using the right techniques and the right education and the right tools that you can come out of it with not just feeling, feeling back to the way you were before, but you actually grow even more from a post-traumatic stress experience. And it's something that we call post-traumatic growth. So your life is even richer and fuller and deeper than you ever knew before but you kind of need to have the tools in place to get from point A to point B.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I do appreciate that. And we've all been through something, I think, that makes us the person who we are and who we become. And usually that's wiser, smarter, and, like in your case now, you want to help people. You want to help others. Would you mind going over some of the things you can help people with? I know, for one, weight gain, illness, some of those things you actually offer. So let's think about our listeners here, what maybe they're suffering at home with weight gain, especially now with COVID. Let's be honest, a lot of us have gained weight staying home. So would you mind focusing in on some of your specialties?
Absolutely. When we're living in times of stress, it's natural that we gain weight. And it's even, you may or may not be reaching for the snack foods, the comfort foods that make you feel better. But your body, when it's stressed out, like during times of a pandemic, your body's naturally going to hold on to weight as a defense mechanism, as a security blanket. This is how your body copes with stress, is it holds on to weight. So one of the things that the marriage of life, health, and trauma coaching helps you learn exactly, not just what to eat, but how to eat. What state of mind that can help you lose the weight that you want to lose. Because if you're eating while you're stressed, in that stress mode, you're not getting all the nutrition you need, because your body is kind of, when you're stressed, your digestive system is not working at optimally. So by calming down a little bit, getting a little bit mindful and eating mindfully, kind of in a more Zen state, the weight will start to naturally just roll off. But, we're so used to living in this high stress environment. The hard part is getting into that Zen, relaxed state while we're eating, and, during most of the time in our life. So, when you're not digesting properly, when you're in a stress state, it increases the chance of illness. It increases your blood pressure. It increases your heart rate. And all these things are natural for your body to be that way when in response to stress. But when you experience it over a long period of time, it leads to autoimmune diseases. It leads to heart disease and diabetes. So how I help people is helping them recognize not just what they need to eat for proper health and nutrition, but also the state of mind that they're in when they're eating, to bring them into a more peaceful, relaxed state so that their body can work optimally for their health.
Got it. Okay, great. So you work with people, I'm assuming virtually, right? And in person at this point? Or with COVID, is it all more of an online type of Zoom platform business you have?
It is all either Zoom or phone calls. Sometimes I find that people don't always, sometimes they can feel more comfortable when it's just phone. So if that makes someone more comfortable,
yeah. Okay.
Just to connect that way, I connect just phone, or I can do Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or whatever makes a client more comfortable.
Okay, great. And do you want to dive into a little bit more about toxic relationships that you can help people with, or do you want to continue on the weight loss type of conversation? I apologize. I'm looking at your sheet, and I know there's specific areas that you need to focus on for today's show.
Well, from my own personal experience and that of a lot of my clients, I find that toxic relationships and weight gain and illness go hand in hand. And when I say toxic relationships, I don't always mean, it's not necessarily your romantic partner. It could be a toxic relationship with somebody at work. It could be a toxic relationship with a longtime friend that is sabotaging you, or a toxic relationship with a family member, your parent or a child or a sibling. Any of those toxic relationships can cause health problems. And in fact, a lot of times we do not realize that we're in a toxic relationship. We don't realize that we're dealing with abuse directly until we start seeing signals in our body that is telling us, like, hey, we need to pay attention. For instance, if you ever see somebody, or if anybody has a high, hard stomach, that's something I like to call a stress baby, because that is toxic relationships or stress. It could be a toxic relationship with yourself or a toxic relationship with money as well. But it's usually that stress is causing that high, hard stomach, and it's causing weight gain. So for me, the toxic relationships and talking about weight gain and illness is go hand in hand. And often because the toxic relationship doesn't always stick. It starts more normal and then increases in toxicity over time, so we don't even notice how toxic it is. It's become our new normal, but our body notices. So our body is gaining weight, and our body is getting sick, and we have less energy, and we feel more drained, and headaches, and all these other physical symptoms that are kind of alerting us that we might be in a toxic relationship. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely does. I've been in a toxic relationship. I've been, able to admit that. My parents grew up, the way I grew up, they were in a very toxic relationship. So I'm familiar with this and very open about it myself. And I noticed it, growing up in a situation like that gave me troubles as an adult trying to work through relationships. So, everyone here, suffers with certain ailments, and we all have something that we need to learn from, we need to heal from, and especially toxic relationships. I know that that's not a good thing, and you work with anyone who, whether it's a romantic or a family friend type of toxic relationship as well?
And yes, I work with anybody. I specialize with women in toxic relationships. Usually it's a romantic one because that's the most damaging, can be the most damaging. But I work with anybody that's in a toxic relationship of any type. So it's not just learning, recognizing the signs, learning the red flags. It's building up your boundaries, learning what is comfortable for you, and how to say no, which is so hard for all of us, but it's really hard for women to say no. But it's good. No is a complete sentence.
Yep.
So it's real. And we all, like you said, we have all been in toxic relationships because sometimes it can feel like the world is full of toxic people, but that's not really true. It's a small amount of toxic people that touch a lot of lives and upset a lot of people. They get around. So there are some beautiful, wonderful, healthy people out there, and overcoming those toxic relationships and learning your boundaries and really learning what is right for you is how you're going to find those healthy, wonderful, loving people to be in your life.
Beautifully said. And Eva, just want to let you know at this point of the show is where we take our commercial break. So I'd like to ask you for your best form of contact information, whether it's an email address, phone number, website, or all the above.
Oh, okay. You can reach me easily by email. It's Eva, Eva.Medcroft, Medcroft, at iCloud.com. Or you can go to my website, which is simply Eva Medcroft. That's EvaMedcroft.com. Or you can give me a call. My number is 941-718-5881.
Perfect. And we'll be right back more after the break.
Are you feeling stuck? Do you feel like anxiety and depression are dictating your life? Struggle with feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and worried? It's time to live a fulfilling life. To make the change that you've been meaning to make, call the integrative practitioner who combines empirically supported psychotherapies with holistic health coaching. Bring together body, soul, or true healing. Find the root cause of your health and mental stresses. This is not how you need to live. There is a better way. You can be free. You can be new. You will be fulfilled. Call Dr. Jose Sandoval at 305-720-0237 or email info@drjosesandoval.com or go to drjosesandoval.com. Creating the new you starts with you.
Hey road cyclist, do you want a real adventure? How about a week-long vacation in Tuscany or Lake Como, Italy? Cyclobella Italia tours are so much more than just great cycling. Come and enjoy not only cycling, but all the best in food, wine, sightseeing, and la dolce vita in Italy. Go to the website, psychobellaitalia.com, to register for the Psychobella Italia newsletter, filled with interesting information about Italy and the tours. Visit the website to view the photo gallery of prior tours and learn more about the fantastic cycling experience with Psychobella Italia. Email Joe at psychobellaitalia.com or phone 480-353-6660. Psychobella Italia. Ride, eat, drink, live.
Do you want better health with natural solutions that work? East Wind Acupuncture, a 20-year traditional Chinese medicine clinic in Chesterton, Indiana, does just that, offering acupuncture, herbs, massage therapy, and nutritional support. East Wind has helped thousands of people eliminate symptoms and regain health. They offer a comprehensive health review, Chinese medical exam including tongue and pulse diagnosis, and customized treatment results. They also offer educational programs, lifestyle classes, and workshops. For more information or to schedule your free health consultation, visit the website ewacupuncture.com or call 219-395-9928. East Wind Acupuncture, restoring health naturally.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to In the Spotlight with Jill Nicolini on Business Talk Radio, where we take your business to the next level. Welcome back to Business Talk Radio. Joining us today is Eva Medcroft from Anna Maria Island, Florida. She's a certified health, life, and trauma-informed coach. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
Hi. So the next half of the show, would you like to focus, obviously, whatever it is you do, it's, for our listeners and for your benefit. So what else would you like to discuss today to enlighten our listeners?
I would like to talk a little bit about PTSD. Because I find I work with domestic abuse victims, and work with support groups and mentorship, and actually have some as clients as well. And one of the common threads that I notice is that they often suffer from PTSD, and they often do not realize they're suffering from PTSD. And one of the reasons is I believe that a lot of us are kind of trained and conditioned to think that PTSD is something that soldiers get, and that it's something that's in your head, and you just kind of power through it. And that is not truly what we understand about PTSD right now. For instance, we know that about 80% of domestic violence victims suffer from PTSD. That post-traumatic stress response is very commonly occurring when it's in your personal space where you're supposed to feel safest and where you can often feel the most endangered. It causes damage. And PTSD, while people think, it's just like a feeling I'm feeling depressed or anxious or whatever, the truth of it is it's actually altered the structure of your brain. So it's a physical ailment that takes time to heal, just like any other physical ailment does. So I don't know, does that make sense to you?
No, absolutely. But you know what? It's funny because I've heard a lot about PTSD with those suffering who've fought overseas in the military. But to know that the term PTSD is not just for those who've served in the military, that's interesting. You're enlightening me right now.
Yeah, because and that's understanding the education part of what is going on physically in your body and your brain actually helps the healing process, because our brains are amazing things. We have something called neuroplasticity, which means that our brain can heal. It's more healing than almost any other part of your body. You may have heard where people have a traumatic brain injury, and that part of the brain may be permanently damaged, but the brain reconnects in a different way to continue to perform that function. So that is through neuroplasticity, which is the way the neurons in your brain are connecting to each other. So we have this little path from, we get information that comes through our eyes or ears or whatever. We take the information in, and it's processed through different parts of our body. We have our main brain, we have our heart brain, and we have a gut brain. And this is all processed through a very special nerve called the vagus nerve, and it redirects that information in multiple parts of the body, which then sends signals to the brain very instantaneously that, okay, this is danger. You need to react, this is danger. And that sets off the very base part of your brain called the amygdala. It's your nervous system. It sets that off and gets you ready for fight or flight. So it starts sending adrenaline through your system to get your heart rate going. It shuts down your nervous system. It sends all the blood to your extremities to get you to run. And in doing so, it also takes some of the blood flow from parts of your brain that don't need to be used, or it thinks it doesn't need to be used, which would be your prefrontal cortex, your thinking part of your brain. You know, the part for rational thought and logic kind of shuts down briefly while you're in this situation where you need to either fight or run away. And in modern times, it also comes to freezing, where you just freeze up and you don't do anything. Or it comes to fawning, where you are trying to placate whatever the threat is. And back in primitive times, as cavemen, that's how we'd react. We'd fight, or we'd run away, or we'd freeze up like a little rabbit and not try to hide. But in modern times, the stress and trauma isn't as direct, and we can't run it out. We are stuck there, like dealing with the stress of a boss that's yelling at us, but our body is reacting the same way. And what that does over time, if that happens repeatedly over time, that you've got this horrible boss that is yelling at you every day, eventually that part of your brain that sends off those stress chemicals like adrenaline gets larger, and the prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking logical part of your brain, that starts to shrink over time. And the pathways connecting the two start to diminish over time, so that you are triggered into that stress response faster and faster over time. And that's what post-traumatic stress is, that you are triggered to react faster and more intensely to the stress response. So understanding that that's how your brain works, and then we can move backwards to realize, okay, so we need to relax that part of the brain, to calm it down, to relax and be in a more Zen state. Practicing mindfulness is one of the best ways to treat PTSD.
Wow.
Mindfulness and being present is so critical to recovering and healing from PTSD. But it's hard. That's where coaching comes in.
Yeah.
You have therapy, which can take you back into the experience and kind of work through the whys and everything. But coaching helps teach you the how to be present, how to come out of that state, how to learn to self-regulate so that your brain can convalesce and heal, and so that your neural pathways can start to improve and grow. And that is a lot through mindfulness coaching.
Got it. Wow. And then also, someone going through this type of situation, I can imagine the effects on eating, because some of us eat when we're emotionally upset and not right. I mean, that's obviously something that you also help people work with as well.
Absolutely, because, and it's not just, when you're emotionally upset, you're craving certain chemicals. And some of those comfort foods, they release serotonin that make you feel good.
Yeah.
So naturally, you're going to crave them because you want to feel good. Ultimately, that's everything we do. Everything we ultimately do, whether it has that ultimate effect or not, is to feel good.
Great.
We want to feel good.
Great.
So it might make you feel bad in the long run because you've eaten too much, you feel stuffed, you've gained weight, you feel guilty because you've eaten too much and you're gaining weight, and it doesn't make you feel good, but for that moment, it's giving you that chemical rush that's making you feel good.
Great.
So the best way to one of the ways to help lose weight is to learn a different way to feel good other than the eating.
Hence, you could help us with that.
So replacing it.
Yep. Eva Medcroft, would you mind giving us your website and best form of contact information once again? Okay.
My website is evamedcroft.com. That's EVAMEDCROFT.com. My phone number is 941-718-5881. And my email is just eva.medcroft@icloud.com. And you can reach me through any of those means. I offer an initial consultation to see if we're a good fit and to see if
Great. I was just going to ask
exactly how I can help you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Business Talk Radio. We will definitely check out your website, urge our listeners to. And thank you for enlightening us today. I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. I enjoyed
you.
talking to everybody. I enjoyed talking to you.
Great. I appreciate it. Same here.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Enjoy beautiful, sunny Florida. And in the meantime, everyone else, stay tuned. We have more Business Talk Radio coming up after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to In the Spotlight with Jill Nicolini on Business Talk Radio, where we take your business to the next level.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council by AARP and the Ad Council by AARP and the Ad Council by AARP.